In this video, I'm going to show you how to make one of these candy stars. So for this, you will need string and scissors, which I didn't show in this part, sorry. I use clear plastic string, but cloth string works just as well. You're going to need 25 beads total, 10 for the inside and 15 for the points of the star. To start out, set your beads to the side for a minute and just lengthen out your string. Before we actually cut our string, we're going to make the middle of the star first. So bring your beads back in and pick 10 of them to be the middle of your star. I use this basic purple as the middle of my star, but you can use literally any color you want. And then literally just put 10 beads on the string. Once you've done that, your string should look something like this. After that, set the rest of your beads to the side for a minute, and now we're actually going to cut the string off. Remember, when making candy, it's always better to have extra string rather than not enough string. I don't have an exact measurement for how much string you should have, but I always go around the star twice and then have a little bit extra at the end, and that always seems to be enough for me. Now we're on to tying the string. You want to make sure that you have a small string and a long string, because the long string is what's going to help us make the points on the star. And remember, when you tie this, you're going to have to go back at the very end of making your star to tie it again. That's why having extra string is better, because if you don't have enough string at the end of your star, you're not going to be able to tie it and it's going to fall apart. I personally just use a low effort surgeon's knot, and if you don't know what that is, I would recommend looking it up because they have some really great pictures of how to actually tie that. In reality though, a lot of knots work. You don't have to use the surgeon's knot, just whatever makes sure that your star is secure. After tying that off, you're left with this weirdly shaped kind of circle. This is where I would recommend either bringing a reference in or looking up a reference picture to see how the inside of a star is made. Like this example is really helpful because the inside of the star is a different color than the points. To make this shape, you basically just want to move the beads around until it makes that general star shape. This can be tricky because all the beads seem to want to move at once, but just remember that overlapping your beads can help a lot. Once you have the shape down, it should look like the middle of your star without any points on it. And that's exactly what we want it to look like. Now we're going to start making the points of our star. So before we start adding any of your beads, you want to string your longest string through the closest point of the inside of your star. This will help us put the beads on for the points of the star. Once you've done that, you can bring the rest of your beads in and we're going to start making the points. You're going to need 3 beads total for each of your points of your star. So I'm going to explain how to put the beads on if you're using multiple different colors and where they would end up on the string once you've strung them. So for the first point of the star, I'm using this metallic purple bead. For the very point of my star, I'm using a plain purple bead, the same ones I used for the middle. For the third bead on the point, I'm using another metallic bead. If I string the beads in this order, it's going to give me exactly what I pointed out. Metallic bead, a plain purple bead, and then another metallic bead. Once you've strung those 3 beads, you'll be left with something like this. So to make the actual point of your star, you're going to want to take your string and run it through the next point of the inside of your star. This will leave your beads leaving a point. Now repeat this process 4 more times. Your last point may seem a little bit trickier, but it's literally doing the exact same thing, there's just already a string running through it. So string your beads exactly as you were, but when you get to actually running it through the rest of the star, you may have to move one of your points down just to see the bead that you can run it through. And doing this is completely fine, it's not going to ruin your star in any way. Now that your star is fully made, the last thing you have to do is tie it all together. With your short string now, you're going to want to string it through the same bead that you did your long string. This will make it easier to tie in the end and also make your star look prettier because you can see less of the string. And now, just tie it how you did the first knot. Since this is the last knot keeping the whole star together, I usually double my knot or even triple my knot just to make sure that it has a really sturdy hold. Once your knot is secure and not going to come loose, you can cut off the excess string. And now you've made a candy star. I went ahead and made my candy star into a keychain, but you can do so many different things with this pattern. These are just a few examples of things I've seen online using the star pattern, and they are all amazingly creative. Once you get experienced with the star pattern, try making some of your own.